Today, you'll test your English level. How advanced is your grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and even your knowledge of American culture? You'll find out today. Plus, you'll learn from every question, so you'll improve your level by the end of this lesson. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. Question 1. He left early. He was feeling unwell. The correct answer is B, because he was feeling unwell. Because is used to introduce the reason. Why did he leave early? Now, you could use although, but this is for a contrast. So you would have to change the sentence and say he stayed late although he was feeling unwell. Or you could say despite, because this is also used for a contrast, but again, you would have to change the sentence and say he stayed late despite feeling unwell because you need a gerund. If you used on account, you need to add extra words because this is incomplete. He left early on account of the fact he was feeling unwell. Don't worry about taking notes because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description. Question 2, they had the house last month. The correct answer is C, they had the house repainted last month. This is a causative sentence, and when you have a causative sentence with have, the verb is in the past participle form, which is why you need repainted. Question 3, Anvil did a great job on the presentation, Maria said sarcastically. Which is true? D is true. Maria is not pleased with Anvil's work. To answer this correctly, you need to know what sarcastically means. This is in a way that means the opposite. So she would say it like, oh yeah, Anvil, he did a great job. Obviously, it means the opposite. It's sarcastic. Question 4, which of the following uses the proper order of adjectives? A delicious warm chocolate cake. For order of adjectives, first you have an opinion. Delicious, that's an opinion. And then you have a temperature, warm. And then you have the material, chocolate. A delicious warm chocolate cake. Question 5, yesterday she, the budget. The correct answer is C, cut. Cut is an irregular verb. All 3 conjugations are cut in the base form, cut, in the past simple, cut, and in the participle, cut. Question 6, she accepted the job. Your task is to rewrite this into the emphatic form. You can put it in the comments or you can simply say it out loud. She did accept the job. This is the emphatic form. It emphasizes the action. So the structure is your subject, your auxiliary verb conjugated, in this case did, because it's the past simple. We know it's the past simple because she accepted, that's the past simple. And then you need the base verb. So accept is our base verb. And then the object, the job. She did accept the job. Question 7, freedom of speech is an important aspect of democracy. The correct answer is no article. Articles are difficult in English, I understand. This is no article because freedom of speech is a general concept. It's not something specific and it's not countable. So no article. Question 8, the lecturer is our new manager. The correct answer is B, giving. This is the present participle clause used to describe the man in the present. Question 9, never, it snow in June. The correct answer is A, never have I seen it snow in June. After negative adverbs like never, inversion of the subject and verb is required. Question 10, if you had called me earlier, I able to help you move. The correct answer is D. I would have been able to help you move. You knew this one, right? This is the third conditional. It's used for an unreal past situation because you didn't call me earlier, so it's now impossible for me to help you move. It's an unreal past situation. How are you doing so far? Question 11, she always brings extra copies of her resume to every job interview. The correct answer is B, a few. A few is a small quantity of. Now, although A, few, is grammatically correct, it focuses on lack. But we want to focus on the copies she brings and just specify it's a small quantity, so a few. Are you enjoying this lesson? If you are, then I want to tell you about the Finally Fluent Academy. This is my premium training program where we study native English speakers from TV, movies, YouTube, and the news so you can improve your listening skills of fast English, expand your vocabulary with natural expressions, and learn advanced grammar easily. Plus, you'll have me as your personal coach. You can look in the description for the link to learn more, or you can go to my website and click on Finally Fluent Academy. Now let's continue with our lesson. Question 12, which of the following is incorrect? The correct answer is C. C is incorrect. Even though I hear students say this every day. Do you recommend me? That is incorrect because recommend does not take a direct object. The other structures are all possible. You can review them more in the lesson notes. Question 13, which means that I routinely did this activity in the past, but not now. The correct answer is A. I used to work downtown. Notice that pronunciation. I used to. I used to. So this is the correct structure and the correct meaning.
I used to work there.
B. I'm used to work downtown is the incorrect sentence structure. And C, I'm used to working downtown, is the correct sentence structure, but the incorrect meaning. This is a feeling of comfort with an activity. And D, I used to working downtown is also the incorrect sentence structure. Again, you can review this more in the lesson notes. Question 14, he said he drive me to the airport tomorrow. You need to complete the sentence using reported speech. The correct answer is B, would. Reported speech uses the past tense of will. Would is the past tense of will. Question 15, you can buy the red house. The correct answer is D, pull over. You can pull over by the red house. This means to move your vehicle to the side of the road and stop. So you could say this if you're in an Uber or in a taxi.
Pull over to the side of the road.
Question 16, when your plane is delayed, you just need to You just need to D, go with the flow. This is the only correct word order, and to go with the flow means to accept a situation as is, your plane being delayed, rather than getting upset, angry, frustrated. Just go with the flow. Question 17, Rachel kissed Ross on the same night Monica got engaged, and Monica accused Rachel of... The correct idiom is B. Monica accused Rachel of stealing her thunder.
You kind of stole my thunder.
So this means to upstage someone, to take the deserved attention away from. So away from Monica, because she got engaged, the attention should be on her, but the attention goes to Rachel because she did something dramatic like kiss someone. So she stole her thunder. Question 18, little that his decision would lead to widespread controversy. The correct answer is A. Little did he know. Little did he know. You will hear this a lot in books. This is a literary expression, and it uses inversion to emphasize the surprise or unexpected outcome of the situation. Little did he know. Question 19, he's been working here for years, but he still hasn't got the promotion he feels he is... He is entitled to. So to is the correct preposition choice. You're entitled to something, which is another way of saying you deserve something. So Monica was entitled to attention because it was her engagement party. Question 20, the manager demanded that the report before the deadline. The correct answer is C. The manager demanded that the report be submitted before the deadline. This is the subjunctive mode, and it's used after demand. So our expression is to be submitted. Submitted is always in the ed form. Your verb is be. And the subjunctive uses the base verb, which is why we have be submitted. Question 21, the director... team is renowned for its innovation, is giving a presentation today. The director whose team. So B is the correct answer. It's used to show possession. Now C has the exact same pronunciation but different spelling. With the apostrophe S, it represents who is, the verb to be as a contraction, or who has, the verb have as a contraction. Question 22, we are at the end of the grammar challenge. So to celebrate this, Jennifer would say, of course, I would say D, you rock. This is the only grammatically correct choice because the expression is to rock. Your verb is rock. You rock. A is incorrect because it is not to be rock. It is just to rock. B is incorrect. If you said you are a rock star, then that's correct because rock star is a noun, so you need that article. You are a rock star, which is true. Now, C is incomplete. You could say you are rocking, which is to rock in the present continuous, but you need to specify the object. You are rocking it, or you are rocking this test. More accurately, I would put it in the past simple and say you rocked this test. So how did you do with that grammar test? Share your score in the comments. And now let's move on to a different style of test. You'll see a real sentence with one mistake. You need to identify and correct the mistake. So let's say you want to impress your boss and you say to your boss, I hardly worked today. What is the mistake here? The mistake is mixing up, which means confusing, hardly and hard. The correction is, do you know what the correct sentence is? Remember, this is to impress your boss. I worked hard today. Hard is an adverb, and it means with a lot of effort. So if you want to impress your boss, you should say, I worked with a lot of effort. I worked hard today. Notice the structure is subject plus verb plus hard. I worked hard on the report. I worked hard to finish the report. Now, the original sentence used hardly. The sentence is grammatically correct. Hardly is also an adverb, but it means the opposite. It means barely, almost not. So if you say, I hardly worked today, it means you did very little work. So that would not impress your boss. Now notice the structure is different. We have subject plus hardly, or you could use barely, it's the same meaning, and then your verb, in this case worked. I hardly worked on the report, you did very little work. I hardly worked to finish the report, you did very little work. So remember, use hard to show you put in a lot of effort. Sentence number 2, you need to identify the mistake. I'm extremely hardworking engineer. Again, you want to impress your boss. But what is the mistake here? The mistake is missing article with job titles. So the correction is, how can you correct this sentence? I'm an extremely hardworking engineer. So remember, singular job titles require articles. This is a rule. Your choice of article is a, an, the. I'm an engineer, of course, because engineer starts with a vowel sound. But if you add great as your modifier, as your adjective, then you need a. I'm a great engineer. Because remember, the sentence structure is article, adjective, noun. You can absolutely say, I'm the engineer, but what does this mean? This means you're a specific engineer, the one working on this specific project. I'm the engineer on the project, or you're the only engineer in the company. I'm the engineer. It's only me. Now you can think of student as a job title, and you can say, I'm an amazing student. That describes you, right? So put that's me, I'm an amazing student. You're watching this lesson, you're doing the work. So put that's me, I'm an amazing student. Sentence 3, we are 3 on the project. What's the mistake here? The mistake is using we are instead of there are. I hear this a lot from students, most likely in your native language or that student's native language. That's the structure. But in English, the correction is there are 3 people on the project. So notice how I also added the noun, number plus noun. In English, we use there plus the verb be, conjugated, to talk about the existence of something or the number of things. So the structure is there plus the verb be, conjugated, the number, and then the noun. For example, there is 1 engineer on the project. There are, so now it will be plural. There are 3 engineers with that S because it's plural on the project. Question 4, despite he was tired, he finished the report. What's the mistake here? The mistake is using a clause after despite. So how do you correct this? You can say, despite being tired, he finished the report. This is an acceptable sentence structure, is despite plus gerund. Another correction is, do you know what an alternative way of saying this? Despite the fact that he was tired, he finished the report. So here, notice I kept the clause, but to do that, you need to add some additional words. Despite plus the fact, and then that is optional. And then the clause. A clause is subject, verb, object. It's a complete sentence. Now, a third correction is you could say, although he was tired, he finished the report. So you can use although plus clause. And although has the same meaning as despite in this context. Now there is a fourth correction. Do you know what it could possibly be? You could say, despite his tiredness, he finished the report. Because you can use despite plus noun. So, did you get any of these corrections? Question 5, what's the mistake? If I have some questions, I'll let you know. Do you know what the mistake is here? It's using some instead of any. So the correction is, if I have any questions, I'll let you know. If you have if or a negative, you use any. If you have any questions, please let me know. I don't have any questions. With a positive, you use some. I have some questions about the timeline. You can also use a or one. I have a question, which means I have one question. So that's the singular because remember, some is plural. I have a question, one question about the timeline. Now this isn't just for questions, this is any noun. So if you have any issues, problems, plans, ideas. Sentence 6, I look forward to hear from you. What's the mistake? You know this one, right? It's using the infinitive instead of the gerund. So the correction is, I look forward to hearing from you. So it's to look forward to plus gerund, or you can use a noun. You can say, we are looking forward to your visit, and that's the noun. Or you can use a gerund, we were looking forward to watching the movie. So remember, you need to conjugate to look, that's your verb. And of course, to look forward to means to anticipate with pleasure. So I hope you're thinking, Jennifer, I look forward to watching your next lesson. You could also just use the noun form and say, Jennifer, I look forward to your next lesson. That's acceptable as well. So does that describe you? If it does, put that's right, put that's right in the comments. Sentence 7, I'm used to work on a team. What's the mistake here? Do you see it? The mistake is the infinitive instead of the gerund. So the correction is, I'm used to working on a team. So the expression is to be used to. Notice that pronunciation, used to, and then gerund or noun. And this is for a feeling of comfort with someone or something. For example, I'm used to making YouTube lessons. I have a feeling of comfort. You can use this in the negative and say, she's not used to speaking in English yet. She doesn't have that feeling of comfort. Let's review the structure subject plus use plus infinitive. This is used for a routine past action. I used to work on a team. They used to live in New York. Routine past action. Now you can also use the structure to get used to plus noun or gerund. So this is to talk about the transition from not comfortable to comfortable. You can say she's not used to speaking in English yet. So you can say she's getting used to speaking in English. So your verb is get to talk about that transition, and get is conjugated in the present continuous because it's an action in progress. Sentence 8, I need to understand better the requirements. What's the mistake? It's the incorrect word order. So what's the correction? You can say two things. I need to better understand the requirements, or I need to understand the requirements better. Both placements of the adverb better are acceptable. So the adverb comes before the infinitive verb, or the adverb comes after the verb and object, so at the end of the sentence. Sentence 9, I had a difficult time to contact the client. What's the mistake here? Again, it's an infinitive instead of a gerund. So the correction is, I had a difficult time contacting the client. So the structure is to have plus article plus adjective plus time plus gerund. Now you can use a positive adjective. We had, remember your verb is have, so you conjugate that. We had an easy time contacting the client. She always has a frustrating time contacting the client. Now you also use the gerund when you use to have plus problems, difficulties, or challenges plus gerund. You could say, I had problems contacting the client. Or maybe you're thinking, I had challenges learning English until I found Jennifer. Does that describe you? Put that's right, put that's right in the comments. Sentence 10, my boss has been angry in the morning. What's the mistake here? The mistake is using the present perfect, has been angry, with a specific past time reference. Now, in the morning is a specific past time reference because it represents at 9 o'clock a.m. or at 10:30. So the correction, you can say, my boss was angry in the morning because we use the past simple plus specific past time reference, such as in the morning. Another correction, you could say, my boss has been angry since the morning because we use the present perfect with since. This shows that the action started in the past and continues until now. And remember that since represents a starting point in time. So since the morning is like saying since 9 a.m. or since 10:30 a.m. You could also say, my boss has been angry lately or recently. We use the present perfect with lately or recently to show the action started in the recent past and continues until now. The next sentence has two mistakes. So this is sentence 11 and 12. I don't know, how can I boiled this report down? Can you identify one mistake? Can you identify two mistakes? Well, let's talk about mistake 1. The first one we see is using a question structure for a statement. So let's review a simple statement. I don't know how I can improve my speaking skills. Maybe you've said this, I don't know how I can improve my speaking skills. So here it's I don't know plus how plus clause. So the clause is subject, verb, and then object. Remember, that was a statement. To ask a question, you would say, how can I? How can I improve my speaking skills? So here the structure is how plus verb plus subject. So the correction for this sentence would be, I don't know how I can, and then what's mistake number 2? It's the wrong verb conjugation, and in this case, after the modal. So we want modal plus base verb. I often hear students say, you should to bring an umbrella. This is incorrect because you want the base verb. You should bring an umbrella. So in this case, the correction is, I don't know how I can boil this report down. And if you're not sure to boil something down, this means to summarize the most important information. This is a separable phrasal verb. So there are three correct structures. How can I boil this report down? How can I boil down this report? Or how can I boil it down? How did you do with those questions? Share your score in the comments and we'll do the same thing. You'll see a real sentence with one mistake and you need to identify and correct the mistake. This sentence has one mistake in it. Feel free to hit pause, review the sentence, and try to identify the mistake. Now, these are real sentences by real students of mine in the Finally Fluent Academy. I review example sentences from my students every single day, and these are the mistakes that they commonly make that we're correcting in this lesson. So do you know what this mistake is? The mistake is with track record. Now we have one of the best track record. So one of suggests that there's more than one. So the noun needs to be plural. The correct sentence is, this machine has one of the best track records in its group. Our next sentence, your assignment was late. Please explain why you failed to do. What's the mistake? The mistake is leaving out the object. You need to say, please explain why you failed to do it. And it represents the assignment, which was already said. Now, even though it's obvious you're talking about the assignment, you need an object here grammatically. Our next sentence, being a great communicator in all situations set you up for success. What's the mistake here? It's set you up. This is the wrong verb conjugation because we have this gerund expression, being a great communicator in all situations. Now, students will often look at that in all situations and they think that's what you need to conjugate the verb with, but it's not. It's the gerund expression, which is being a great communicator in all situations. And all of this is the subject, it. If you had to choose a subject for it, it would be the subject it or this. This sets you up for success. So you need to add an S to that verb because it's conjugated with it as the subject and it's the present simple. Now, if you had a noun, you would say this situation sets you up for success. That's the singular noun. Or you could say all situations. Now this is plural, it's they. All situations set you up for success. So with the noun, you conjugate it with singular or plural, but when the sentence starts with a gerund verb, being, it's conjugated as it. How about this sentence? I want to run something to you. Do you know what the mistake is? Well, technically, this is grammatically correct, but it's the literal meaning. I want to run something, maybe this iPad, I want to run something to you. Now, my student, when they use this, they were trying to use the expression to run something by or past someone, which is when you share an idea with someone in order to get feedback on that idea. So the mistake here is using the wrong preposition, which can entirely change the meaning, because now it's not the expression, I want to share an idea to get feedback. Now it's, I want to literally run something to you, which is not what my student wanted to communicate. How about this sentence? Lately, I'm worried about my English test. What's the mistake? The mistake is using the wrong verb tense with lately or recently. And I hear this mistake a lot. Lately or recently means the action started in the past and it continues until now, and it might continue into the future. So what verb tense do we need? The present perfect continuous. Lately, I've been worrying about my English test. And you could also say recently, I've been worrying about my English test. Now remember that these are real mistakes that my real students in the Finally Fluent Academy have made. If you're that student who made this mistake, don't worry, because that's the whole purpose of taking lessons. I love it when my students make mistakes because it means I get to share something with them. I get to teach them something and they get to improve. So if you are also making these mistakes, don't worry. The important thing is that you're correcting them right now. And of course, if you want my personalized support, you can simply join the Finally Fluent Academy. You can check out the link in the description to learn more. Our next sentence, we need to stop problem in its tracks. What's the mistake? The student forgot the article. This is definitely the most common mistake I hear, even with my advanced students, is leaving out articles or not using articles correctly overall. So here, problem is a singular countable noun, so it needs an article. We need to stop the problem in its tracks. Now, you could also say we need to stop this problem in its tracks. You could even say we need to stop a problem in its tracks. But you need some article before a singular countable noun, unless it's one of the many nouns that are exceptions and don't take articles, which is why students struggle with articles so much, and which is why I help my students in the Finally Fluent Academy and provide this support, because the use of articles is so specific in English. Let's look at this sentence. Whenever a student joins the Finally Fluent Academy, they always introduce themselves, and one of the questions is, what do you do for a living? And a lot of students will reply back and say, I'm accountant. I'm accountant. What's the problem here? Again, it's articles. You need an article before a job title. So you would need to say, I'm an accountant. You need an because accountant starts with a vowel sound, so you need an instead of a. I'm an accountant. He's a developer. But if you were talking about a group, you could say they're developers. They are developers. So notice in this case, there's no article, because the noun is plural, and you don't need an article with plural nouns. They're developers. So please, when you tell people what you do for a living, make sure you include the article. Otherwise, it will sound like your English is very beginner. Let's review this sentence. He has been jumping up and down for 2 hours. What's the mistake? This student wanted to use the present perfect continuous, but they didn't form it properly. So it's the incorrect structure. The correct structure is subject, have or has conjugated with the subject, which this student did, and then been, and then the verb in ing. So the student only made one mistake, but just one mistake with the structure of a sentence will make the entire sentence incorrect. The student used the verb in ing, being, when it should have been. So the correct sentence is, he has been jumping up and down for 2 hours. How about this one? You need to practice more your English lessons. What's the mistake? The mistake here is incorrect word order, because you don't practice more something, You practice something more. So the correct sentence is, you need to practice your English lessons more. You practice something, your English lessons, more. Now, if the something is obvious, you're talking about English lessons, you don't need to specify that. You could simply say, you need to practice more. So you can also use practice more, but without including the something. This is the final mistake, and it's the one that I hear the absolute most, even more than articles. This sentence is, the project doesn't go well. What's the mistake? So what verb tense is being used here? The sentence uses the present simple. But the present simple is for routine actions. And in this case, it's not a routine action. It's an action that's taking place right now. So the mistake is using the present simple when the present continuous should have been used. And this is by far the most common mistake that I hear advanced students make, the present simple. The correct sentence is, the project isn't going well. Isn't going. Is going, but in the negative. So we have our present continuous. Is going, is not going. The project isn't going well. Because we're talking about right now. Right now, the project isn't going well. You could absolutely use the present simple, but you would have to make the context appropriate. So it would need to be more of a routine action. Think of it as more of an in general. So you could say, our projects don't go well. So it's not necessarily the project right now, it's in general. In general, our projects don't go well. So just remember, right now, present continuous, in general, present simple. You're doing such a great job. Think of everything you've learned. Now share your score out of 10 in the comments. And we'll do the same thing again because it's such an effective way to quiz yourself and learn at the same time. So you'll see a real sentence with one mistake and you need to identify and correct the mistake. Sentence 1, between you and I, the project needs more attention. Now remember, in each sentence, there is one mistake. Do you know what the mistake is? The mistake is between you and I. I is the mistake because it should say between you and me. And yes, this is a real mistake that native speakers commonly make. Between is a preposition and you need an object pronoun, you, me, him, her, not a subject pronoun, I, you, he, she, it. Let's see a sentence that uses a subject pronoun, I, and an object pronoun, me. I want to tell you something. The subject doing the action. I want to tell you something. But please, keep it between you and me. You could also say, keep it between us, because you plus me equals us. Keep it between you and me. Now, this sounds like I want to share a secret with you. We have an expression in English, I won't spill the beans, which means I won't share your secret with other people. I won't reveal your secret. So keep it between you and me. And you can say, I won't spill the beans. So put that in the comments. I won't spill the beans. So the correct sentence, of course, is between you and me, the project needs more attention. Sentence 2, if I was you, I'd quit. What is the mistake? Can you see it? The mistake is was. It should be were. This is because the sentence is in the second conditional, which we use for hypothetical, unreal situations. If I were you, This is unreal because I am not you, and it's impossible for me to become you, so it's hypothetical unreal. Now, in this structure, the second conditional, all subjects use were. If I were you, if he were you, if we were you. Keep in mind that native speakers commonly don't follow this rule and say, if I was you. But if you're taking your IELTS or if you're in any formal English situation, the grammar rule is were for all subjects in the second conditional. So the correct sentence is, if I were you, I'd quit. Now this structure is commonly used to give advice. So if your friend says, oh, I really need to improve my English, what should I do? You can say, if I were you, I'd subscribe to JForrest English. What about you? Do you agree with that advice? If you do, put me too, me too. I would also subscribe to JForrest English. Put me too, put that in the comments. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already. How are you doing so far? Our next sentence, I'm not sure whom I should speak with. There is one mistake. What is it? Do you know? The mistake is with whom. It should be who. Whom is used as the object and who is used as the subject. Did you know that many native speakers mistakenly think that whom is the formal version of who, and they use it to sound more professional, to sound more formal? But this is incorrect. There are specific times grammatically when you need to use who as the subject and you need to use whom as the object. Just think about this if the question didn't include I'm not sure. It would be who should I speak with? The sentence begins with the subject. Our next sentence, each of the candidates have pros and cons. What's the mistake? The mistake is have. It should be has. The subject in this sentence is each, which is singular. The subject is not candidates, which is plural. You could say the candidates, which is they. The candidates have pros and cons. That's correct. But when you start with each of the candidates, it represents the subject he or she has pros and cons. What about this one? The candidates each have or has pros and cons. What do you think? What do you need? Have or has? You need have. The candidates, they each have pros and cons. So remember, each of plus plural is the subject he or she, but plural plus each, the subject is they. Our next sentence, a mistake I always made when I was a kid. Me and Vanessa are going to the concert. What's the mistake? The mistake is with me. It should be I. You need a subject pronoun, I, not an object pronoun, which we discussed before, me. You need a subject pronoun to start the sentence. And notice, with the subject I, it's not I and Vanessa, which I also commonly hear students say. A native speaker would not say that, but students commonly do. I and Vanessa. No, it's always Vanessa and I. My mom, my dad, my sister, and I. No matter who your subjects are, I comes last. The correct sentence, of course, is Vanessa and I are going to the concert. Sentence 6, I see this one all the time. You better meet the deadline. What's the mistake? You better, you had better. The structure is subject plus had plus better plus base verb. And this is used to provide advice and recommendations. Native speakers make this mistake because in spoken English, a native speaker always uses the contraction. You had, you'd better. But the D is so soft that native speakers, we forget it's there. So when we write what we say. And it sounds like you better because the contraction is so soft. You'd better. So in spoken English, you don't hear it, but it's required grammatically. Without the contraction, you had better meet the deadline. With the contraction, you'd better meet the deadline. Our next sentence, another very common mistake that native speakers make, you should have called. What's the mistake? Of should be have. The structure is subject plus should plus have plus past participle. And this is used to provide advice in the past, but it's unrealized advice because it's impossible for you to take the advice because it's in the past. Again, native speakers commonly make this mistake because in spoken English, we take should, have, and we combine them together and it sounds like shoulda, you shoulda called. And we forget that the is have, it's not of, because sounds closer to of, but it's not of, it's have. You shoulda called, you should have called. So if your friend is upset and says, oh, I got a low score on my IELTS, you can say to your friend, you should have subscribed. You should have subscribed to JForrest English. Of course, this isn't very helpful advice because your friend can't do anything about it now. It's in the past. But maybe they can take that advice for the future. So if you agree with that, put that's right, subscribe, and the next time you take your IELTS, you'll get a high score. Put that's right in the comments. How are you doing so far? Remember, native speakers make all these mistakes, so you're learning a lot. Our next sentence. The team, including the coach and star players, were ready for the championship match. What's the mistake here? The mistake is were. Were should be was. Do you know why? It's because the subject is the team, which is a collective noun, is conjugated as it. The subject is not the noun closest to the verb, which is the players, plural, they. Remember that information between two commas is additional information. It doesn't affect the grammar of the sentence outside of the commas. And as I said, team is a collective noun, is conjugated as it. So of course, the correct sentence is the team, including the coach and star players, the team was ready for the championship match. Now, if the subject was the team, the coach, and the star players, then of course that would be were because the subject is they. They were ready for the championship match. Sentence 9, this is a good one. She's always coming to work late. What's the mistake here? Native speakers commonly say this. The mistake is she's coming. This is the present continuous. It should be she comes because we have always, which is a keyword for the present simple because it's a routine action. For some reason, I don't know why, native speakers commonly use the present continuous specifically with unwanted behaviors that are routine. For example, he's always criticizing me. So to criticize, that's an unwanted behavior. It's a negative behavior. Perhaps it sounds more dramatic to say he's always criticizing me instead of he always criticizes me. Now, even though native speakers do this, it does break the grammar rule. So for your IELTS or any formal situations, you should use the present simple with adverbs of frequency like always. Your last sentence, are you ready for it? The report doesn't address the timeline nor the budget. What's the mistake? I hear this one a lot from native speakers. What's the mistake? Nor should be or. Remember, when a negative introduces the first point, use or for the second point. The report doesn't address, a negative introduces the first point, doesn't address the timeline or the budget. When the first point is neither plus positive, then you use nor for the second point. The report neither addresses, here addresses is positive. The report neither addresses the timeline nor the budget. Native speakers commonly assume that nor is used for all negatives, but that's not the grammar rule. And I've heard from some native speakers that they think nor is the formal, more professional version of or, but that's not true. You must be getting good at this by now, so how did you do out of 10? Share your score in the comments. Let's do something different now. We'll do an advanced C1 grammar test. I know you're ready for it. Here's how the test is going to work. You're going to see a question and you'll see 4 options. You have to decide which option best completes the sentence. I'll show the question for only 5 seconds, which isn't a long time, so feel free to hit pause, complete the question, and then hit play and I'll explain the answer. Are you ready? All right, let's get started with question 1. To text Sue. It's her birthday today. The correct answer is C. Don't forget to text Sue. It's her birthday today. The key word in this question is to, which is the infinitive to text. Now, there's only one possible option in the choices below where you can have the infinitive, and that's C. Don't forget to text. Now, if this question didn't have to and it was just the base verb, well, then A, B, and D would be correct and C would be incorrect. Question 2. Mary went jogging today of the rain. The correct answer is B, in spite of the rain. And that's your key word here, of. In spite of and despite have the same meaning, but you don't say despite of. You just say despite. If you want to learn more about this, I have a full lesson explaining this. I'll leave the link in the description below. Question 3. I think I'm allergic to your cat. I can't stop. The correct answer is B, sneezing. Now this is a tricky one because you can have grammatically stop plus infinitive, stop to sneeze, and you can have stop plus gerund, stop sneezing. But the meaning is different. When we're talking about no longer doing an action, we use stop plus gerund. And based on the context of the question, we're talking about no longer doing an action, so we need the gerund. If you want to learn more about this, I'll leave a link in the description below. Question 4. If you don't know the meaning of a word, you can in a dictionary. And the answer is C. You can look it up in the dictionary. Now this one is a vocabulary question because you need to understand what these expressions mean. To look something up is another way to say to search for or to find that specific information. Now we use this all the time because every time you Google, you're looking up information. So I use this expression literally every single day. Hey, what time does the restaurant close? Can you look it up? I don't know. Can you look it up? Oh, we need to look it up. We should look that up. You'll use this every single day. Question 5. My doctor, me, I should exercise more. And the answer is A. My doctor told me I should exercise more. Now this is one that students confuse a lot. I hear students say told to me, I told to her. No, that doesn't work grammatically. We don't want to someone. Get rid of that to. I told her, I told you, she told me. So that's what we need. And also I hear students say me. She said me to exercise more. No, we don't want me after said. She said I should exercise more. We want a clause after said. If you want to learn more about this, I have a full video explaining it. You can find the link in the description below. Question 6, my boss, me, to her dinner party. And the answer is B. My boss invited me to her dinner party. Now this one is both a vocabulary question because the only logical choice is invite, but it's also because of sentence structure. We could change the sentence structure and make it work. For example, my boss suggested that I come to her dinner party. We could say that, but I'd have to completely change the sentence structure. So all the options could work if we change the sentence structure. The only logical choice with the sentence structure is B. My boss invited me because you invite someone to something. My boss invited me to the movies, to her house, to the restaurant, a specific location. Now, if you want to learn more about suggested, because a lot of students say suggested me, which isn't correct, I'll leave a link to a video on that topic in the description below. Question 7. Sorry, I didn't quite, what you said. And the answer is A. Sorry, I didn't quite catch what you said. This is an expression. To catch something in this context is the exact same as hear. I didn't hear what you said. But notice option D is in the past form, and that doesn't work grammatically. So it has the same meaning, but it's the wrong verb tense. So A, catch, is exactly the same. Now this is an expression you can use all the time, especially since you probably struggle to understand native speakers. So if somebody says something to you and you don't quite catch it, you can say, sorry, I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that. I didn't quite catch that. Quite is just a word we add to mean a little bit. I didn't quite catch that. So add that to your vocabulary. You'll use it all the time. Question 8. I don't sleep in now, but I sleep in until noon on weekends. And the answer is B. I used to. I used to sleep in on weekends. Now notice all the options are slightly different sentence structures, and they're all grammatically correct if you use the correct meaning. But for here, we're talking about an action that used to take place in the past. So an action you routinely did in the past, but you no longer do now. And for that, we need use with a D. You don't hear it in pronunciation, but it's there in spelling. I used to work at the bank, but now I work at the mall. So a routine action in the past, but you no longer do it now. Students confuse this sentence structure all the time. I have a detailed lesson on this. You'll find the link in the description below. Question 9. I don't need help, but thanks. And the answer is, but thanks for offering. Thanks for offering. Thanks for offering. This is one that I hear a lot of mistakes with as well. Now notice here, I have thanks for. After for, because for is a preposition, you must use the gerund verb, for offering. Thanks for, and then you can use a gerund verb or you can use a noun. Thanks for your help. Thanks for the offer, your offer. Thanks for offering. And your final question, number 10. The film sounded interesting, but it, to be really boring. And the answer is D. It turned out to be really boring. This is a vocabulary question because you need to understand what these expressions mean. We use to turn out when we're talking about the end result of something. So let's say you're trying a new recipe and it's for chocolate chip cookies. You've never made this recipe before. Your friend could say, how did the recipe turn out? How did the cookies turn out? Your friend is asking about the end result. Basically, your friend is asking, were they good? Were they bad? How did the recipe turn out? And you could reply, oh, it was awesome. They were delicious. The best chocolate chip cookies I've ever had. And in this context, they're talking about the movie's end result. How did the movie turn out? It was really boring. It turned out to be really boring. How did you do with that test? Share your score out of 10 and let's do something different. Now let's test your vocabulary. You have already learned a lot of new words without realizing it, but now let's focus on your vocabulary. You need to choose the correct word to complete the sentence. Do you think the discount will? The client. Which option, A or B? I'll give you 3 seconds. Appease the client. Appease is a verb. We use this when you want to give someone something they want in order to make them happy or in order to prevent further disagreement. So I'm giving them a discount to make them happy. It will appease them. Now, if you said B, appeal, keep in mind that appeal has a very similar meaning. It means to be attractive to, but grammatically, the sentence is incorrect because if you use appeal, it's appeal to the client. And because I don't have the preposition to, B is an incorrect option grammatically. Question 2. She's a very employee. Option 1, option 2. The correct answer is A, diligent. She's a very diligent employee. To be diligent, this means to be careful or using a lot of effort and attention to detail. For example, I worked diligently on the report all week. So notice in this case, it's an adverb, diligently. I worked diligently on the report all week. Question 3. Sorry, I can't help. I'm at math. A or B? B, inept. I'm inept at math. To be inept at something, this means to not be skilled or to be ineffective at something. I'm inept at math. Number 4, she's the most member of our team. A or B? A, gregarious. B is incorrect grammatically. We can't say most great. You would say greatest, right? So grammatically, B doesn't work. A, gregarious. To be gregarious, when someone is described as gregarious, it means that they're very social. They enjoy being around other people. So what about you? Let us know in the comments. Would you describe yourself as a gregarious person? Do you enjoy being around other people? Are you very social? Let us know in the comments so you can practice that word. Number 5, we need to with the accounting department. A or B? The answer is B, follow up with. Grammatically, A is incorrect. You don't follow out with someone. You follow up with someone. And this means that you continue a discussion or conversation that was previously started. I could say I already followed up with the accounting department. I already continued the conversation we had previously started. Number 6, that's a difficult concept too. A or B? B, to grasp. When you grasp something, it simply means that you understand it. So it's the same as saying that's a difficult concept to understand. That's a difficult concept to grasp. Number 7, you should all your debt to reduce your interest rate. A or B? B, consolidate. Consolidate. When you consolidate 2 or more things, it means you combine them together. So if I said the 2 firms consolidated last year, this means that last year there was firm A, firm B, but now because they consolidated, there's 1 firm. So the 2 become 1. Consolidate. Number 8, the book discusses his illness and resignation from politics. A or B? A, subsequent. His subsequent resignation from politics. This has a simple meaning. Subsequent just means something that comes after something else. So first he had his illness, and after he resigned, his subsequent resignation, his resignation that came after his illness. We commonly use this as an adverb to start a sentence. So I could say, he moved to Australia. Subsequently, he got married. And I'm using subsequently to let you know that he got married after something else. And that something else is after he moved to Australia. He moved to Australia, subsequently, he got married. Number 9. He gets stressed out when he's A or B? The correct answer has to be B, under pressure, because over pressure is the wrong preposition. The preposition you need is under pressure, to be under pressure. And that's simply when you have a lot of work and you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling stressed out. You can use this positively and say, I work really well under pressure. So when I have a lot of work, I actually perform better, not worse. I work really well under pressure. Number 10, women face a lot of in the workplace, A or B? Well, ostrich is a bird, so women don't face a lot of ostriches in the workplace. They face a lot of obstacles. An obstacle is something that blocks you, and it can be something physical like a roadblock, or it can be something non-physical like discrimination. So it's something that blocks you from making progress. That's an obstacle. Number 11, thank you for your remark. A or B? The answer is B, pertinent. Pertinent remark. When something is pertinent, it means it's relevant to the topic or discussion at hand. So let's say you're having a conversation and then someone raises a point and you think the point is very relevant to the topic or conversation, you can say, that's pertinent. That's pertinent. That's relevant, related to our topic at hand. Number 12, you can that to the interns. A or B? B, delegate. You can delegate that to the interns. When you delegate something is when you give someone else responsibility for a task or a specific job. So when you're doing a task that you really don't want to be doing, you can say, I wish I had someone to delegate this to. I wish I had someone who I could give this task to. Number 13, I have a really workload this month. A or B? A, heavy. B is a direct translation. It's not something that we use in natural English. It sounds awkward and unnatural. A, heavy, is the adjective that we use to describe our workload. When your workload is heavy, it simply means you have a lot of work to do. And what's the opposite of heavy? The opposite is light, right? Light. So when you don't have a lot of work to do, you would say, I have a light workload. Heavy workload, light workload. So what about you? How would you describe your workload right now? Would you say it's heavy or light? Let us know in the comments so you practice this new expression. Number 14, the police have been unable to what caused the explosion? A or B? B, ascertain, ascertain. When you ascertain something, you discover something. So to ascertain the cause of the explosion is to discover the cause of the explosion, to understand why. So when the police do understand why, they discover it, they can say, we've finally ascertained what caused the explosion. It was a faulty gas line, and then they can tell you the cause of the explosion. And finally, your last question in the quiz, number 15. You've been all week. Just do it already. A or B? The answer is B, procrastinating. You've been procrastinating all week. When you procrastinate, it means that you delay doing something, but that something has to be done, and you delay doing it. And why? Well, generally because it's unpleasant, like chores around the house, cleaning the garage, cleaning the bathroom, doing the dishes. It's unpleasant. Or it's simply boring, like organizing your closet or filing your paperwork. So you delay doing it, but it has to be done. That's procrastinating. Amazing job. So how many of those words did you know? Share your score out of 15. And now let's do something fun. Let's test your knowledge of American culture, traditions, and vocabulary just for fun. Question 1, what would an American English speaker call this? Do you know? Any ideas? We call it a Band-Aid. So if I'm at your house and I cut my finger, I would ask you, do you have any Band-Aids? Now this is a bandage, but American speakers always call it a Band-Aid because that's the brand name. The most common bandages are by the brand Band-Aid, so we just call it a Band-Aid. Question 2, a related question. And make sure you're keeping track of your score and you can share your score at the end. Question 2, related question. What is a Band-Aid fix? Speaking of Band-Aids, what is a Band-Aid fix? Any ideas? A Band-Aid fix is a temporary solution to a problem. This is an idiom in English that uses the word Band-Aid.
Tried putting Band-Aids on it, but
I could say filling the potholes is a Band-Aid fix. The entire road needs to be repaved, which would be the permanent solution, and filling the potholes is the temporary solution, and that's why it's a Band-Aid fix. And I hope my videos help you permanently improve your English so they're not a Band-Aid fix. So put no Band-Aids, put no Band-Aids in the comments.
But it's just a Band-Aid fix.
Question 3, what would an American English speaker call this? Do you know? Any ideas? I would call it a Kleenex. Kleenex. For example, can you pass me a Kleenex? Now these are tissues, but again, the brand name is Kleenex, which is why Americans just call it Kleenex.
I need a Kleenex.
And keep in mind, we do this even if we don't use the brand Kleenex or the brand Band-Aid, we still just call it the brand names. Native speakers don't use brand names for many things, but Band-Aid, Kleenex, also Q-tips, which are technically cotton swabs. I've never called it a cotton swab, always Q-tip. Also chapstick, which is technically lip balm, but the brand is chapstick. And Tupperware, which is the brand, and it is plastic storage containers. The brand is Tupperware. So these are the main ones where Native American English speakers just use the brand name. Question 4, this is a fun one. I'm an American at a baseball game. What am I most likely eating? What am I most likely eating? What do you think? Put it in the comments. I'm eating a hot dog. That's right. Baseball and hot dogs are synonymous. Now there are other options, but I'm most likely eating a hot dog. And if you asked this question to 10 Americans, I'm pretty sure all 10 would choose hot dog. But other common food items maybe you said are peanuts, popcorn, pretzels, or nachos. But again, most likely, I'm eating a hot dog. Question 5, another fun question. What does the tooth fairy do? American traditions. What does the tooth fairy do? Any ideas? The tooth fairy takes your tooth from under your pillow and leaves you money in return. This is, of course, for little kids when they lose their baby teeth. They take that tooth, they put it under their pillow, and they're so excited because when they wake up in the morning, the tooth fairy has left them money. And of course, the mom and dad are tooth fairy. But the little kids, they believe in tooth fairies until, of course, they grow up and realize it was their mom and dad leaving them money. Does that tradition exist in your culture, or does that sound super weird to you? The idea of putting your tooth that fell out of your mouth under your pillow and then waking up in the morning and getting money. Does that sound weird? Because traditions can definitely sound weird if they're not part of your culture. But of course, to me, that sounds totally normal, and it was a part of my childhood. So what's your score so far? Let's move on. Question 6. If I ask you to complete a task, what two words should you use to accept that task? Any ideas? Let me give you a hint. Will you do me a favor and subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share it with your friends? And to accept this task, 2 words. What can you say? Will do. Will do. Will do, Jennifer. Will do ASAP, as soon as possible. You can do it right now. Just click subscribe and like. Or if you want to sound super American and very confident, you can reply back with 1 word and say done. Done. Because you're expressing it as if you have already done it. So you're putting it in the past tense to show how confident you are that you accept and will do this task. But remember those 2 words, will do. Question 7. If I'm starting to get angry because I'm hungry, I'm hangry. You knew this one, right? I've taught this to my students in many different videos and shorts as well. I'm hangry, which is a combination of hungry and angry.
Someone's hangry.
I'm not hangry, Tito.
Question 8, another culture and traditions question. What do Americans most commonly eat on Thanksgiving? Do you know? Of course, it's turkey. Turkey is synonymous with Thanksgiving. In fact, a lot of people call it Turkey Day. If you Google Turkey Day, it will tell you the date of Thanksgiving. Question 9, what does let's Uber it? Let's Uber it. What does let's Uber it mean? Any ideas? This means let's take an Uber. So notice how I'm turning Uber, which is a noun. If you're not sure, Uber is an alternative to a taxi. I'm taking Uber, the noun, and I'm using it as a verb. Native speakers love using nouns as verbs. So instead of saying, I sent you an email, a native speaker will say, I emailed you. So using email as the verb. I'll call you on WhatsApp later. WhatsApp is the noun. I'll WhatsApp you, using WhatsApp as a verb. Native speakers, we love doing this. But we only do it in specific situations with specific nouns. So for now, just use the 3 I taught you. And finally, question 10, how are you doing with this test? Question 10, if I answer, it's going great. What question was I asked? It's going great. What's the question? The question is, how's it going? How's it going? Great. Going great? It's going great. Those are the 3 different ways you could answer. And of course, instead of great, you can choose whatever adjective you'd like. So, how American is your English? Share your score in the comments. And even if you got 0, I hope you had fun and learned a lot about American traditions, culture, and vocabulary. Do you want me to make more lessons like this? If you do, put more in the comments below. And of course, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. Of course, you're going to say those 2 words, will do, Jennifer, or done. Done, which means you've already done it. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And this video will definitely help you sound more American, so watch it right now.